Hey guys, welcome back. Andrew here with Ambient Endeavors, and today we're taking a look at the Echo Fix EF-P2. It's their spring reverb pedal. And if you're not familiar with Echo Fix, they're a company based over in Australia, and they kind of made a splash in the industry about 5 or so years ago with their tape echo unit. They have kind of spent a ton of time and effort and meticulous R&D to refine and craft sort of the best and highest quality and most sort of rugged recreation of the classic Space Echo unit. And they've done that now in a couple different offerings with various feature sets and upgrades and updates in a really cool way. And they have this sort of approach, this studio-centric approach to their designs and their products. And I think that really shines through as we start to talk about the Spring Reverb pedal here. The Spring Reverb features real analog spring circuitry inside this pedal. It's a little beefier of a pedal, bigger and heavier than you'd expect from sort of a digital emulation pedal. And so we're going to dive into whether real springs matter, kind of what they bring to the table, and then hear a bunch of sounds from this EF-P2 to kind of get a feel for what real spring reverb in a pedal like this can sound and feel like. Before we dive in, I'm going to hit on a couple things. One, for any new viewers out there, if you found this video and are new to the channel, thanks so much for stopping by. And please hit subscribe below, engage in the comments. I really enjoy getting to chat with you. And secondly, I run a pedal shop called Little Box Effects. I'll link the web store in the description below, but we have these units in stock and there's a sale going on for a little bit longer where you can get a discount on the EF-P2 here, the Spring Reverb, if you want to pick one up. So hit the link below if you're interested in grabbing one. It sort of keeps me afloat and supports the business and the endeavors that I have going on here. And check out the rest of the storefront. We've got some fun stuff that it's kind of coming in and through there this spring that you might want to check out. But back to the Echo Fix here and the conversation about real springs. It's been kind of cool to see more brands and builders try and integrate that analog, true spring sound and effect into pedal form. It's pretty impressive the ways that they can kind of execute on that in a still fairly normal sized pedal. And obviously this is a sound that you'll hear in old tube amps, in new tube amps that feature those long spring reverb tanks. There's sort of a boing and there's a metallic resonance that is almost instantly noticeable about spring reverb. And I really think that in my experience with different reverb pedals and digital emulations of reverb sounds, the spring sounds are often the ones that right out of the gate you kind of balk at, or just sort of notice that there's a bit of an authenticity to it. There's just a kind of hasn't quite hit the mark on the feel and the response of that real spring sound. You can kind of liken it to, taking a sip of soda that has Splenda versus real sugar. You just kind of know right away that it's close, but it's not the real thing. And that's kind of been my experience when I think about spring reverb sounds in digital emulating pedals. And so if spring is your thing, I really do think that having true springs as part of your signal chain does make a big difference. I think as I was playing through this pedal and writing the intro track and doing the sound samples, you really get this response, that metallic kind of resonance, the ambience that comes from the just mechanical nature of this circuit involving those metal springs in it. If you are running a signal chain where you're utilizing tube amps and other analog components, and you really kind of want to preserve as much as possible that organic analog or tube-based sound, having that real analog spring circuitry here does a great job of preserving that sound and that feel and that kind of response that you want. It's also really convenient and flexible for folks like myself who don't really love onboard spring reverb circuits in amps for a number of different reasons. But you can still kind of get that organic, authentic spring sound in pedal form. And it really does kind of give that response and that feel because of those true springs inside. The other cool thing about the Echo Fix Spring Reverb is the ability to drive the springs into sort of a saturation or kind of overdrive or overloading. This is really great to add some texture, to add some saturation, to add a little bit of that kind of compression or squish as you play into it and kind of get that response back out of the spring circuit. So I love that they feature that. You've got that control over here on the left. You have some EQ controls in the middle here for bass and treble, which just allow you to kind of fine tune your spring reverb sound, whether you want it to be kind of darker and richer or brighter and kind of springier if you're into surf or other sort of more present, more kind of bright tones. And then you've got your reverb volume here, which essentially kind of sets the level and the depth of the reverb decay there. So a very straightforward control set, a really kind of cut and dry pedal in a great way that allows you to integrate this into your signal chain and really just get that authentic spring sound. I do think this pedal has a really nice range and voicing overall. It does kind of major in the more moderate or mild settings, the subtleties of spring reverb. It's kind of one of those pedals that you miss when it's off, and you really kind of see how it can glue together your sound or your part, your guitar track, when it's engaged and sort of set the way that you want it. This won't really push the limits like some of those overdrive or fuzz into reverb pedals are doing these days, but it's a really musical, really tasteful approach to a true spring sound. You can also integrate it into other studio reamping situations or with other instruments. It's able to take line level. It's able to take kind of whatever you want to throw at it there on sort of a higher powered, higher voltage type setting. And so that is another great use case for it. You can engage the left switch to turn the direct sound off and just get your full wet reverb sound if you're in that situation where you're reamping or you're doing some parallel mixing or processing or things like that, which is another useful feature. So that's the spring reverb from Echo Fix. Again, if you want to pick one up today, you can grab it at Little Box via the link in the description. They're on sale for a little bit this spring. And we're just going to dive into some sounds and hear kind of the breadth of and the range of this Echo Fix Spring Reverb. I'm going to be using the black Player 2 Jazzmaster you saw in the intro sketch. We're going to run the 29 pedals Una into a Brown amplification SSHAC chorus vibrato, which I think pairs so well with this effect with Spring Reverb sounds. We're running onto a Small Sound Big Sound Mini for a little bit of texture on towards the front end, then onto a Strymon Dig, and finally the Echo Fix Spring Reverb. We're sending it onto the Matchless Phoenix 35 set behind me here and running that to the UA aux box for cab modeling. Let's check it out.
Thank you.